I
I'm not a
will.
physical
You know
chicken
what?
nugget.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start recording, and when we start, we start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got OBS. I can record it, but like Fable, if you are recording, I don't see much use of me also recording,
Well,
except for as
We need
backup.
backups.
Yeah, just
Sounds good.
backup
Backups.
recording.
Yeah, I'm like, aside from like backup, but like I'm like otherwise it's probably just like real useful to be like, alright, I'm doing
Owl.
backup and Fable's doing the official recording because fuck it.
Owl, you have you've lost multiple episodes. It's good to have backup.
Excuse
Please.
me for having
I'm not
God.
trying to shame you. I am just being like, please.
No,
please
you're
do not
extremely valid.
discourage.
I don't understand why technology hates me sometimes. Like, it's
She's
only
mad at
when
you.
I'm trying to record shit, too.
Well, because fuck technology.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technology.
It is a blessing, it is a curse, it is everything in between.
Just like uni.
Oh, what?
Uni is
Okay.
technology. Uni is technology.
I see how
No.
it is.
Uni, are you
No,
the
I
embodiment of
wasn't thinking.
technology?
I was about to say just like all
Are
of
you
you,
saying
and then
that-
my brain edited it.
Are you saying that Uni is a robot?
No, uni
Ah,
is a blessing and
I
a curse
smell
and
a
everything in
robot.
between.
Prove.
Prove you are not a robot.
Robot.
Oh my
Answer me these questions three. And see if
Which
a
of
robot
these has
you
a
be.
stop sign in it? Please.
Is it an
You guys are
E
all
or
very
is
good,
it a
and I appreciate
3?
you.
That's
I
up
am
to me.
I am
Okay.
a single man standing there.
I'm glad I'm recording. I have this on recording already.
I'm just like genuinely uni, one of my favorite people in the world. However, I was just like spacing out, and then I was like, "That's just like," and then it's like, "All right, you need a name or a large group of people," and my brain just went with the first one I saw, which was uni, and then I was like, "Oh,
Of course.
that's
Alright.
kind of an insult."
We
Sorry.
we gotta start. We gotta start.
Yeah.
Or we're
Hello.
never
No,
gonna.
you guys are new. This is part of the experience.
Hello, ladies, gents, non-binary friends. How are you doing today?
Absolutely fucking
Fun.
dying.
Yep.
You.
Does everyone have a bonkus conkus?
We do because of you.
Yep. Yeah.
There we go.
We've got
Our
one.
bonkus has been bonkest.
Yep.
I don't
You've
want the
been
conkus
blessed by the
bonkus.
conkus, bonk.
Oh,
No,
joy.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
Boonk.
No.
Anyhow, in our last episode of the, I almost called it the Silver Screen. In the last episode of Dreamer's Crest, we finally finished getting all the way through the mountain. We fulfilled some business negotiations between a large group of union skeletons and their boss. We came to peaceful negotiations. Everybody's happy now. And then we finally got through and we solved my saliva puzzle. And we also managed to find that Grem is immune to saliva.
For some
can just-
reason.
They can just slurp right into it, splash around,
It's
nice,
probably
nice
fine.
and cozy.
Slurp.
And through that, we managed to get the hole in the big saliva cup plugged. And then we also managed to get out the secret fun mushroom that can cure like any like disease or curse. And while we did that, we freed Noctis, who immediately saw that mushroom and was like, "Oh, that's mine now. Bye. I gotta go. Yeet!" And then he nuked out of the room after calling the baby that you brought into a large, dangerous cave a baby. And Petra was like, "Wait, you might have a concussion," and Petra chased after. And then Petra also had
All
Grem's
of
bag.
Grem's stuff.
So Grem, dripping wet and in their underwear, was just like, "Oh God!"
I don't remember that part.
No, that was a joke I just made. That didn't actually happen. But like Grem, dripping wet, was just like, "Oh God, I need to get my stuff back," and they ran out. The rest of you are just walking at a normal ass pace because you're regular human beings.
It's true. Very normal.
Oh, they're
Everybody's very
regular.
normal here.
Yeah, they're normal.
Everyone is
also normal.
normal. Nobody has a weird secret.
Yep, the story here.
All right,
There is
so,
no lore in Sing Say.
So to everybody who is just walking along, you take the long route back. You don't have to sprint or run because this time you figure Noctis already got there. You took the mushroom with him, so like if she's already gone, she's already gone. So you're doing a nice little walkie walk, and you're going around and you're seeing junk, and you're like, oh hey, look, a cool pond, and there's a frog in there, and then you eventually come out. You emerge from the trail that leads from the cave to the town, and you see in the middle of town is God, one of those. It's like you see like a horse-drawn carriage, and it's drawn by like a cartoon horse.
Aw.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're
there's
telling me a horse
A
drew this
giraffe?
carriage?
God damn it! I was about to
yeah,
make a
the
giraffe
horse has
joke.
hands.
I despise this mental image.
The horse has hands.
Oh,
No.
I hate that. I hate that. You just see the horse like look at people as they're coming and quickly like pop on their hooves. Pop their hooves back on.
Exactly.
God.
They're just like, oh shit, there's people here.
This is terrible.
Yeah, this is
I
awful.
despise this.
But you guys come over. Nothing is loaded onto the stagecoach, and the horse itself looks a little bit like impatient, also a little nervous because it just put its hooves back on, and it's just like, did anybody see that? Did anybody fucking see that?
Bobby, I hate it.
Oh god, it's awful. Such the imagery just
So you guys finally wander into town. You hear like clanging and like various noises coming from the shop, and you see that the lights are on in there. The lights are also on in the town hall for once, but like that's because like you can see that Cozy and Tia are in there, and Cozy is still like asleep. And then if you look towards the store, which now has the lights on and has been like dusted somehow, you can hear shouting and running, and you could have a concussion. Or something that sounds like that.
No, something like that.
Yeah, something vaguely like that. Just, concerned adult noises. So, it's up to you guys where you want to go. So we got horse in the middle of town, we got the town hall, and then we got oh god, something just came flying out the window.
March.
Child is going to check out the horse.
The horse says hello.
March is...
Child waves.
How are you doing? You didn't see anything weird, did you?
Child tilts its head to the side. Child hasn't seen a whole lot of horses, probably, so it doesn't know what's weird for a horse.
Good, and then the horse gently pats the child on the head.
A
Child pats it back.
conversation.
The horse and child are now best friends.
Yeah.
March is gonna go over to the town hall, where they left Tia Dozy and the old guy. I don't know.
Alright.
His name.
His name is Cozy Dozy.
Thank you.
Cozy Dozy.
I keep wanting to call him Tio Dozy. That's why.
No, you can call him Dozy because her name is actually her original name was Tia Aller, and then it's like, oh, your name is Tia, and she's like, yeah, and it's like, so you're like everyone's auntie, and then it's like, yeah, and then they started calling Cozy Tio.
Aww.
He's like
That's
everybody's
the
uncle.
cutest
Aw,
thing.
that is very sweet.
That's really cute. That's
Yeah, so-
adorable.
You head into the town hall, and you head for that for whatever room is like currently lit or like whatever, and you see inside like in the main hall there's actually Tia, and she's there with her husbando, and he's still asleep, but like she seems a lot more relaxed now, and she's got him set up on the welcome desk with like a pillow and like a futon, so that it'll be easy once Noctis is done with whatever Noctis is doing to wake him up. He's very tiny, so he doesn't take up much of the desk.
I think March just stands in the doorway and just goes, "Hi."
Oh, hello! You guys, you managed to do it! Noctis didn't really say anything except for, I have someone on my tail and I can't talk right now, but I got you your mushroom. But other than that, I can't, this is like a miracle. It's amazing. Yeah, we have to prepare the mushroom in a certain way, but, the only person with the equipment to do that is, Noctis, so he's going back to get the equipment, and then we're going to make, all healing mushroom soup, so...
Okay.
Are you okay, dear?
Yeah.
She comes over and gently takes his big hand.
Aww.
Oh. That's... Okay. Her hand is gonna be covered in ink.
It's okay. She gently gives it a pat, and she says, "Oh, look at you. Oh, have you eaten anything today?"
I will die for Tia.
March has to lift his head and think about it for a second. We had fish earlier in the morning.
Oh, it's almost evening now. You've got to be hungry. Oh, come with me. I have cookies.
Okay.
And she goes into her office, and then she hops, skips, and jumps up her little like bookcase, and pulls down a tin of grandma cookies.
Oh my god.
You know, the blue tin with the sugar cookies in it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She opens it up, and it's full of sugar cookies.
Nice.
A miracle.
It's not a sewing kit.
A relic from ancient times.
And she says, "Take as many as you want, dear. I have more. Whenever I run out, I just use the container to hold my sewing equipment."
March
is.
March is gonna hesitate before he takes one at first, and then he looks.
You're a big boy. You can take more than that. You're going to be so hungry. Come on, eat something, and I will not have you pass out later. So come on, you need at least 4.
I was just thinking about the others if they wanted one.
No, I've got more. Take as many as you want.
Aww.
This is a threat.
Upon being threatened, March just splats his whole hand onto the tin, and you just hear a sort of slurping sound. And when he takes his hand away, the cookies are gone.
And you see Tia still holding the empty tin, and you see the world's biggest, happiest grandma I fed my grandchild grin on her face.
Aww.
Tia, my beloved.
I love.
And she's just like, "Very good. Now, you just let me know if you're still hungry, alright? It's been a while since we fired up the stove in the inn, but we can do it now, especially since you and all of your friends now have citizenship, and oh, I'm just so excited." And she sets down the tin, she pulls out a little like a little handkerchief and wipes off her hands with the ink. It comes off immediately, which is terrifying. And then she folds it up and puts it back in her pocket, and it's like pristine white still.
March wonders
Good handkerchief.
Yeah, March wonders quietly
It
to
is.
himself what that handkerchief is made out of.
Grandma love.
Obviously.
Can I do a check on the handkerchief?
Yes, you can. It is literally made of grandma love, though.
I'm gonna do Arcana, because I feel like that's something he'd do. Just like, it gets the ink off just that quickly, it must be magic. Unfortunately, March's Arcana is -1, so... 18.
That's
Oh, but
good.
that's an 18 though.
basically you say, can I see that handkerchief? I've never seen anything like that. And she says, oh, certainly, dear. I have at least, well, I embroidered them all myself, but I have at least 6. Here you go. And she reaches into her
Aw.
pocket and pulls out that hanky. It is still pristine white. And you find yourself wondering if this is the same hanky she just used. But then you see the pattern on the edge is the same as the one that you saw when she was wiping off her hands. So yes, it is.
He pokes it.
It just kind of basically you feel like, all right, because of the way that March was like born and raised, you don't really have much experience with like a grandparent's love.
Nope.
But this feels like if you have tripped and if you have skinned your knee and then you came inside and grandma gave you a kiss and a cookie and then helped you with the disinfectant.
Aw.
That's a lot, and honestly, I think March would die for Tosi now. If he didn't already.
Oh no, I will cry.
And she says, you can keep that if you like.
March just looks at Tia like not questionably, but like you just see his eyes kind of sparkle.
And she's just like, I have a lot of them, and I keep making them because it's what calms me down when I'm worried, and I worry a lot, so...
March will very gently accept it and just gently hold it. His eyes are still sparkling.
Meanwhile, they're still screaming coming from the store.
Speaking of
says,
which,
just 1 second, and she takes the empty tin and she stashes it in a drawer full of empty tins. But like you get the idea that these tins are full of sewing supplies. And then she opens another drawer in her desk and she pulls out from something that should not be able to hold it 3 more tins that are obviously full of cookies because they haven't been opened yet.
March does a very toonish blink at seeing all that. Just blink, blink. Oh.
Oh, you learn a couple of things in the Magical Girl Corps.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
And she just she flounces out of the room, literally flounces, like her skirt goes up and down, and you hear tick, 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 as she just kind of skitters out of the room.
Oh.
And you hear like a kiss because you're still in the office, and she says, "I'll be back, dear." And then she the door opening and the door closing.
Yeah, March just looks back at the handkerchief, just goes, "Wow," and then he'll follow.
I will mention, after March went in to address Tia and Tio, Star did go to where the other 3 were to see if they could do any sort of damage control.
All right, so you walk up the steps to Noctis's shop. You see that the fruit has been traded out somehow in the past 20 minutes. Everything has been sparkled and swept and polished, and it looks now like very lived in and very comfortable. And the sign says currently says open, but like there's a note under it that says for emergencies with a smiley face.
Oh, I have the mental image of Petra, who has been trying to get Noctis to like hold still so she can check up on him, has somehow been roped into holding something heavy, and is just standing awkwardly in the middle of the store.
Exactly. She Noctis has managed to trap her with a cauldron, actually, like a big ass metal cauldron. It's solid. Either that or it's a big soup pot. It's heavy. It's steel. She's holding the 2 handles, and he says, "This is a very important job, and you can't drop any of this, or it'll negate the usefulness of everything we're using. All right, cool." And he's just using that as an excuse to keep her from trying to like shove open his eyeballs again to make sure that his pupils are okay.
I'm pretty sure Graham got their bag back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grem is in the corner, and there's like knickknacks and shit, so like Grem has their bag now.
Yeah, they're just checking that everything is okay inside.
Yeah. So Star, you come in, and Petra has her arms full, and yet she's still like you can see her kind of like straining, like you might be injured. And Noctis just has like he has a big knife, and he's got a set of tools, and then he's got like a fire starter, and he's also holding the mushroom like it is the most precious thing known to man, which it is at this point. And he's just like, oh hey, there's a lot of people in my store today. This is good for business. Do you need anything? I mean, we're only open for emergencies right now until I think at least an hour or two from now. But if you are having an emergency, let me know.
Yeah. There's just a moment where Star blinks at the scene, and then cups their hands, and there's just the comic like crash, pow, bang, like that appears in it.
Like the little cartoon bubbles. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so that happens. And March, you emerge from the from the town hall. You come out to the big wishing well in the middle of the town.
The
You see
child
that
has requested and hopefully gotten permission from the horse to pet its nose.
no,
Aw.
definitely, and the horse has also
Yes.
offered rides because it's bored and there's nothing for it to do.
Child is delighted.
So
Good.
yeah, we've got the horse trotting around in slow, careful like circles around the big fountain. March, you've come out. Tia is actively like building a small fire, like a survivalist, but in the middle of town on the rocks. She has surrounded it with another like circle of rocks, and she is setting up basically what looks like a sort of like God, it's one of those things that you can hang like a pot on so that it boils over the fire.
Is this
Mhm.
for the mushroom?
And Tia, she jumps into, she's like, "Oh, don't frighten me like that. I'm an old woman." And she gives you a playful slap on the knee, and then she says, "But yes, it is.
Oh.
I need more wood, but I can't really. I want to keep an eye on things. So, oh, I know. And she turns to him, and she says, "You can help me get more wood, and I can keep an eye.
Oh, okay.
I just need a couple of large logs, and you seem like the type who has enough muscle to just punch right through a tree.
Probably. Okay.
Don't worry, it's okay if you can't punch through a tree." And then she reaches under her skirt and pulls out an axe.
Oh.
And she hands it to you. It isn't like embroidered, but it is engraved with like fancy doily patterns.
Nice.
Good.
Nice.
Like on the handle it says "Axe, sweet axe."
March blinks,
that's
but
great.
just gives a nod before he kind of just turns and walks back to the forest to go chop a tree down or punch a tree
Yep.
down. I haven't decided what he'll do yet.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. And she turns back to the pot, keeps an eye on things, and finally Noctis stumbles out of the store like, "All right, come on, watch the steps of like it sure is a doozy. Come on." And he's just like, "And then yes, you can check and make sure I'm not dead," which I obviously am not. God, I do not understand out of towners. Anyway, Tia, and he waves.
Checking for concussions is important, like Petra insists, as like she's carefully stepping out of the store, still holding any heavy thing that Noctis has got her to hold.
Yeah, it's like the big pot. It's all the extra like ingredients and like dried herbs that he's got. There's a mortar and pestle in there, and like
Mm-hmm.
just basic things that you would find in an apothecary. And then he's just like, "If I had a concussion, I think I would know." And he continues going down, and he settles down, and he picks up Tia Dozy and spins her around and says, "Tia!" And then he sets her back down again, and he says, "I got everything you need. I am your hero. You should call me your hero. I would like a cheek kiss." And Tia is just like, "I was going to give you a cheek kiss anyway." And he, Noctis says, "Yeah, I know." And she gives him a peck on the cheek and says, "Thank you, dear."
Oh, that's so cute.
I love them.
Yeah.
I
And
can't
Noctis just kind of beams and like pushes his chest out like a proud teenager who's overacting.
You see,
Aw.
Graham, who was following them outside of the shop, just rolled their eyes.
And he tells Petra that she can just set everything down now.
Petra nods, and there's like a little clang as she gently sets it on the stone of the town. Where's
So,
Nora in all this?
What'd you say?
Where's Nora in all this? I'm curious.
Nor is
I zoned out.
Tia has roped him into starting the fire for her.
Good.
Yeah, so basically she's just she went over to Nor and was just like, you smell like fire magic.
Yes.
What a perfectly normal thing to say to someone.
Yeah, and then she held out her little grandma hands and took one of his hands and says, "Could you help me, dear?"
Well, fuck. You can't say no to that. And it's like, okay, what do you need
And-
me to do?
And Tia gently comes over and shows, and I said, and then she just like sets him near the pot, and she sets up the sort of like the holdy roasty stick, so like the thing that the pot hangs on. She puts the pot there. There's a large pot. It's got some water in it. It's got some other stuff in it. All of the apothecary stuff has been removed from the pot. It's large. She's got some basic kindling at the base, but she's still waiting on that good firewood. And so she turns to you and she says, "All right, now your big friend, the lovely one with the he has a very excellent appetite. He has gone into the woods and he is going to get me some wood. I need you with your I hope you have some mastery over fire magic. It's always been my weak spot. I need you to try and keep the fire burning evenly and constantly for as long as you can."
Alright, yeah, like when Tia was like, I hope you have some mastery over fire magic, like Nora actually kinda bristles a little.
She doesn't know. Some people smell like magic, but they don't do it.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I can do that.
And then she gives him a gentle pat, and then reaches under her skirt again and pulls out a tin of cookies.
Oh.
Cookies.
Now you all must be hungry. And she pulls out 2 more tins. She pops them open, and then she sets them on the stone, and she says, "Have as many as you like while we wait for your friend."
Nora is looking at the tin of cookies, and then he's just kind of looking at Tia and going, "What do you want? So you're paying me to do this fire and cookies?"
No,
Oh,
I'm not paying you to do anything. I've asked you for a favor, and you've already agreed. This
and-
is to say thank you to all of you and to welcome you into our town.
Yeah, you get the impression that he's never gotten a gift before.
Oh my
gosh.
Oh dear, are
Look
you
at
not
this
hungry?
man.
If you're not hungry, I'm certain that I have some type of. I do have scarves. I knit an awful lot of scarves. You look cold. You're thin as a stick.
You're a twink.
Nora's just like, no, it's fine.
She has already pulled out a large red scarf.
Good.
And then she says, "Come here. Bend over. Yes, come here."
Also, one of the tins are gone, and Petra's carrying it over to the child.
Aw,
Very good. But you hear Tia in the background saying, "Lean over. I'm not that tall."
Really, this
No,
is-
lean over.
I'm already hot.
Come here.
Has,
All right,
so-
I'm gonna need you to roll charisma for
has
this.
this woman just adopted everyone on
Yes.
site?
Can you please roll me? Can you please not charisma, but can you please roll me wisdom?
Oh, just been adopted.
I need you to roll wisdom with like.
Oh,
Yeah, I was about to say a wisdom with 15 to see if you could convince her, and also convince yourself that you did not need a fancy scarf. And you rolled a 16. So yeah, she finally listens. And she's like, "All right, but I'm not letting you get away with it that easily. You will have knitwear at some point."
And he's just like, I'm fine. I'm already. I'm very like. I'm. He's like. He doesn't know how to deal with this. Like, what the hell? So he's just gonna go and start the fire.
Yep. And March, you're out in the woods right now.
Yeah,
You found a good tree. It's a big, thick tree.
looks like it.
And it also, you checked and made sure all the animals got out of it first. There wasn't actually much living in it because it was like it's not like a dead tree, but it's on its way to being dead. Like, you know, in a couple of years, this type of tree is probably gonna fall over and not, like, end up being a nurse log or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is a good time for it to be chopped down if you need firewood.
Yeah.
So,
He's gonna actually put the axe down and lean it against another tree, and he's gonna crack his knuckles, reel back, and he's basically gonna do like a side chop at it.
Bit the
roll
shit
strength,
off the tree.
please.
Can I argue athletics?
Yes, whatever you want.
Thank you.
Just you gotta roll a dice for this.
13.
All right, that's all right. It's not great. It's not something that immediately makes the tree fall, but like thud, and like there's a large there's a spray of chips, and the wood is like stained black, but there's also a big chunk taken out of the base.
He's gonna. I think he's just gonna keep just whittling at it with a chop with his hand.
All right, so you go chop, 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 and eventually, after about 20 minutes of this, you hear like the sound of wood straining, and then
Can he catch it?
you can try. I need you to again roll strength.
All right.
If you fail on this, you will be squished.
Can I argue athletics again?
Yes, if you would like.
23.
It's a 23.
All right, that would have done even if you weren't doing athletics. So, the tree falls, and you look at it, and your eyes get a little wide, and then you're like, yeah, this is what I was planning for, and you widen your stance, like a sumo wrestler. You hold up your hands,
Yeah.
and the tree falls, and you catch it, and like in the ultimate show of cartoon squash and stretch, you go bonk, and then slowly bonk, back into shape.
Yep. Yep.
Good. Good.
And then you gently set the tree down on the ground. It makes a large like thud. And then you're just like, I think that's plenty wood, but like you also get the idea that this will be very hard to use for fire because
Yeah.
it's a whole ass tree.
Yeah. He considers chopping with his hand again, but then he looks back at the axe and I think he'll try that. He's never used an axe before.
It's all right. All right. All you need to do is roll dexterity with advantage because you're using Grandma's homemade axe.
Oh my gosh.
It's 19.
Oh dang, that's already real good.
21.
Oh, that's
Oh.
There we go. Grandma's axe makes everything better. So, you just you start chopping, and this thing feels real good in your hands, man. The ink in your hands doesn't stain it, and it feels like getting a hug from your grandma.
It just feels like getting a hug from grandma.
You finish chopping up this tree into good firewood, and it takes you it only takes you 15 minutes, which is unrealistic. And then you finish up the job, and you brush the wood chips off of the axe. You're very gentle with it.
He
and
uses
you
the
get,
handkerchief to clean the blade.
Yeah, you clean it off, and then you get a little ghost of warmth on your cheek.
Huh. His eyes
You
spark.
get-
His eyes sparkle a little bit. There's a warmth in his chest he doesn't recognize, but he likes it.
Aww.
Yes, and
I will die for March.
then all you have to do is you gotta take the wood that you've chopped and then just roll it on into town.
Yeah, I think. Roll it.
It might take you a couple trips. But...
Roll it. We're taking all the logs, and he's putting on both shoulders.
Can you please
Dude,
roll
in
me
one
like
shot,
a
we're
straight strength?
trying.
I will not call this athletics. This
Okay.
is a show of power.
Okay. Watch as it fails. No, it's a nat 20.
That's enough funny because you feel so good. You're running off of good family affection that you've hardly ever known in your life before. You feel amazing. It's like Popeye with spinach, and you make sure to stack everything into a nice triangle, and then you lift it, and you have it in both hands, and it's like this giant like circle, like Atlas holding up the earth, and you just kind of like blomp 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 out of the woods.
Yep.
I wanna just like have the moment since Petra mentioned she's bringing over the some cookies to the child, and the child absolutely just like took a few handfuls and like scarfed them all down, and then after a second offered some to the horse.
Aw.
Aw.
The horse
Good.
eats those cookies. Don't mind if I do, and then the horse just chomp 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 chomp.
The child is just like they do a little like prestidigitation, making themselves glow a little bit because eating the horse from the hand feels nice.
It tickles. You get like horse lips on your fingers.
Exactly.
Also, I hope you know, any remaining cookies, Petra eats them just as messily.
There are crumbs all over, man.
Yep.
Good lord.
Yeah. So you guys have just been standing there, and then you hear clomp 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 clomp.
Sure
And
was a
you
wood
see,
could that be?
you see the wood before you see March. This enormous sphere of stacked firewood made of a singular tree.
Petra looks over and he's like, oh, by the concept, what?
Child just like throws their arms in the air like, oh.
March just goes straight over to the where the fire is. It's like straight to Tia. Tia just goes, I have the fire.
She looks up at you, and as if she was expecting exactly this and knew you could do it, and is very like you get the sense that, oh, this is what Grandma wanted exactly, and you did such a good job. And like you're getting your cheek pinched, and she's like, oh, you did excellently. Look at all this firewood, and you took such good care of my axe. Oh, you can borrow it whenever you like, sweetheart.
Thank you. March's eyes are just they're just glistening right now.
And she's just like, all right, just set the wood down over there, and then, all right, it's your turn. And she turns to Nora and she says, I don't believe I've heard your full name yet.
I think Vamp has, in fact, Zandat again.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay, Vamp
Sorry,
will
I
love
feel
you
like-
so much.
I feel like, although in character, this might actually be a case of Nora like focusing so hard on not committing arson with the fire, that he's not like registering. Because, like, if you look at the fire, like every now and then it flares out like big, and then he's like, no, and he has to like stoke it down lower.
Yeah, she gently pats him and says, all right, we've got more firewood now.
Oh, all right. Here, and he kind of like leans back and to let March like deposit the firewood.
He just he just lays it down. Not lays it down, but just drops it down. And I feel like that amount of wood just makes everyone jump a foot in the air.
Probably.
Just
The
thud.
entire town.
There's a ginormous stack of firewood in the middle of the town right now, and Noctis is currently like he's got like a blanket spread out, and he's working on like the medicinal part of this, in that he has like he's cut up the mushroom, he's following the recipe from the book like exactly, and Petra, you're still over there and you're eating cookies really messily, and he has officially like banned you from within 5 feet of his work area.
You know what? That's fair. I think Petra has resigned herself to watching out, to making sure the child doesn't run off.
Good luck.
Oh
The
no!
child is allowed in the sphere because the child eats neatly. You, however,
Oh
are
no,
banned.
the child does not eat neatly.
All right, then you're both banned. Jeez.
I will say, Nor has been snacking on the cookies, but he eats like a bird. Like he eats like it takes him like 10 minutes to finish a single cookie because he keeps nibbling on it like very daintily.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
and then-
I just have this image of Nor like super focused, and then he just hears crunch, crunch, nom. He'll look over it. The camera pans over his shoulder, and Petra and the kid are just watching over his shoulder with crumbs on their faces.
Yeah. And Star, you are just basically you've been watching this whole thing go down, and now you are officially on fire duty, and that you're small enough to help put the logs into the fire without jostling anything. Unlike
Yep.
March, who's way too large, and Noir, who's focused on keeping the fire even.
Yeah.
Just like you're strong, but like you're also tiny, so it helps.
Yep, he's at the right level for putting the logs in.
Yep, a small Barian.
We
Small
love,
variant.
and hey, we love him. Him good.
He's
Yeah.
very
Them
good.
Good.
And
Graham, by the way.
Grandma's just vibing.
yeah, Rem has been in the background this whole time, has their bag, and is just like, this seems interesting. But then Noctis
just
has
like,
too much
anyways.
stuff to carry, so he waves at Grem and he's like, alright, I need you to carry this pouch over there, because I have arms full of everything else. And he's balancing like several like little like cooking, like, you know how in YouTube videos they're like, add a dish of this, and it's a little like glass dish full of ingredient or whatever.
Oh yeah.
He has like a bunch of those lined up and down both arms.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he's carrying the big bowl of like mushroom between his hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Graham just grabs the thing that he handed to them, just asks if he needs anything else. looking him up and down.
So Noctis heads over to the fire, balancing very carefully, and then he starts the ritual, which really just looks like he's making stew. It looks like he's making soup, something like that. And
Good soup.
so he waves over Graham, and then he says, "All right, you need to put the bones and the broth in first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're chicken
obviously
bones. Don't look at me like that."
It's fine. They just followed instruction. They've seen weird. He wouldn't be surprised if it was actual like human bones.
No, it's chicken bones. Like it's chicken and like pig bones, just like stuff that you use to make broth.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Side
fire.
note: the child has snuck away from the horse and got back to splashing in the fountain.
Excellent, amazing.
Petra's passive is in fact 13, so she is aware and is still watching.
So
Protective.
luckily Noctis drew water from the well before the child was splashing in it. Like
Yeah.
from the fountain. Like he took water from the town's fountain, which is the town's lifeblood, which is that was, if you look at the book that he was using, it says 1 bucket of town's life, and that's the water from the wishing well in the middle of town.
Mm-hmm.
The fountain. So like he already took a bucket of that and poured it in, and then he was like, all right, put in the bones.
Mm-hmm.
And he put in the bones, and then he put in a bunch of herbs and then some aromatics. He's put in onions and some carrots and some celery, and he's stirring it around, and he's just like, now we just gotta wait for the right moment to add like everything else. And so all of you are basically stuck waiting, but it starts smelling really good in about like 15 minutes, because like everything starts like soup just ends up starting to smell good once everything has gotten through that first like layer of it has to boil and cook.
Yeah, it's just good soup.
Yeah.
Good
Like
soup.
30 minutes in, you guys are kind of bored, but like it smells good, man.
I just want to mention, I think after firewood duty, Star has taken one of the tins of cookies and is just had it within reach of Noctis to like for him to absent-mindedly take some every now and then to eat.
That's actually very good. I'm gonna say this is because Star, you heard grumbling earlier, but you weren't sure where it was coming from, and then you eventually were like, wait, and you like gently hold your ear near this teen's stomach, and you hear because he's very hungry and he hasn't eaten in like a week.
God.
Yeah, no shit.
He's
Ever
just
wanted
real
this group
busy.
better freaking self-care.
And then Star holds out like he's just like, does he need food? You hold out a cookie, and then you like, basically you get a little bit of drool on your hand because he just kind of snaps it out of your hand like the horse did with the child.
That's alright, Staff will keep doing it.
Oh,
And
this
he
is terrible.
continues to like eat the cookie without using his hands. Like he just eats it. He like chews it up and swallows it, and then continues working because this is very important. And if he fucks it up, he will never forgive himself.
Yeah.
Oh, this boy.
What checks would he, quote unquote, be making for this, if any?
All right, so it would probably be like some dexterity checks, some medicine checks, that sort of thing.
Okay. In that case, I think Petra at some point is gonna walk over and cast Enhance Ability on Noctis.
He immediately like jumps a little bit and he's like, "Who's touching me? Someone is
Relax, it's
touching me."
Relax, it's me. I am trying to
I
bolster
don't
your
have a concussion.
abilities.
I'm trying to
No,
focus.
this is something else. It's Enhance Ability. Now calm down.
God, you worry more than Tia does. And she's like ancient. Go away, shoo. I'm busy. I'm working.
I'm trying to ensure that this goes as smoothly as possible. Please, just let me. And she's just gently touch on back and cast spell. There.
Yeah, and he's just like with his hand, he's been trying to lean away as he's working on what he's doing, and like he puts a hand in Petra's face, like, I don't need your help. I'm fine.
Can March walk
I
over
feel-
and just pick Petra up and carry her to
I
the...
feel like this is gonna be a recurring situation between these two.
I feel
As
like
soon
he
as
got a roll
Petra
strength
is
and
gone,
she's
he
still wearing the armor.
as soon as Petra is like lifted, he instant like Noctis just goes back to the way he was sitting before, back into that very concentrating look. Like his eyes are steely, and he looks like a real anime protagonist right now. And then finally, he pours in the mushrooms, which glitter like diamonds, and they fall in, and the entire soup turns clear,
Whoa.
like
Huh.
water. Except for he takes a ladle. It still clearly has chunks. It's still clearly like viscous. It's just beautiful and almost like jelly-like when you look at it, but you can still tell that it's like soup consistency, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like he holds up one of the bone pieces that he put in, the chicken bone leg or whatever, and it's like it looks like glass.
That's
Damn.
weird. That's so cool, but that's weird.
He looks around it, he breaks it in half to look at the middle. The middle is still slightly visible, so he puts it back in and he says this might have to stew for a while. Nobody touch it, please. And he gently puts the lid on and then backs up. And then he turns around and looks at Petra and is just like, God, alright, now what do you want?
Petra being held by March like an angry cat.
What do you want? What is your name anyway? Portia? Porky?
Petra.
I don't remember.
Petra.
I think she wants to heal you.
Why?
You were in a crystal thing?
But
For like
I'm
a
fine.
week.
I'm absolutely thunk.
Oh.
That's what I was worried about. Okay. Put me down. Put me down.
Yeah. March gently puts Petra down.
He did not have a concussion before, but he just conked his head on the floor and is now
Can
asleep.
Can
Oh
I
my
make a
gosh.
dex save?
You can. You gotta get over a 12, I think.
Alright.
Very good. Basically, Star sees this happening and immediately darts over, both of his tiny hands held up, and catches him before he hits the ground. And you have like you have an entire armful of like floppy teenager who is now asleep.
Yeah, just because Star was nearby with the cookie tin, which is why I think they were able to like just I think the cookie tin is on the ground now somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, the cookie tin is on the ground next to the pot as it burbles.
Burble, burble.
Burble, burble.
Yeah. As soon as Petra's put down, she immediately goes over to Noctis and starts checking him over.
You see that it looks like all of his fluid was like sealed in, if that makes sense, by the crystal. So like he didn't like have to worry about dying of dehydration, despite the fact that humans generally only get like 3 days before they like run out of body water.
He must be so gross right now.
Yeah, he's vaguely sweaty. He's a little dirty. He smells vaguely like demon weed. And he's also, you can see that he's lost some weight. He's lost about the like a few pounds, like the average amount if someone had not been fed in about a week.
Oof.
That's also where like the beginnings of malnutrition like start to set in that if it's any longer than a week, then you have to deal with like all of your fat reserves being absolutely burned through and like your body starting to eat your muscles.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So like luckily it just burned through all of his fat, and you get the idea that he has like a round baby face, but like it's really like sharp and pointy right now.
Petra's just making note of all of this, and yeah, I think. All right, this boy's gonna need some bed rest and a couple good meals for the next couple weeks. She just murmurs as I think she's just gonna try to take Noctis and find a place for him to rest.
Tia runs over and says, I physically could not keep him from working, and if I had, he would have hated me for it. How I
Child
figured he
has
would
come
just...
over and tried poking Noctis's face.
Mark is grabbing Child by the collar and pulling Child back.
Noctis makes like
poking.
a noise, and he says, 5 more minutes, Mom.
No poking.
And then he leans over and just basically kind of like buries his face into Petra's shoulder.
Aww. Aww. I think Petra's gonna like look over towards the inn and be like, is there like a free bed that he could rest in for the time being?
Several. This is where I was hoping you guys would stay the night. And she says, I need one person here to monitor the fire, but the rest of you can go and explore the inn, which is where you should be staying from now on.
I'll stay by the fire. March will go and sit down by it.
Yeah, and Tia goes over to the inn. She unlocks the door with a big key that has like a house on the end, and also a little charm, like a wooden charm that's shaped like the letter Z.
I will say though, Nora's probably staying by the fire as well.
Yeah. Graham too.
So she opens the door and she says, "It's a little bit dusty in here because we haven't had guests in a while, but the kitchen works. The plumbing is adequate, and we have
plumbing.
Yes. Do you not know what plumbing is?
The term
Running
is not
water.
familiar. No. Like
Fresh running
well?
water. Sort of. It's a series of rerouted water pumps that allow you to get fresh water whenever you need it.
You are a dwarf. How do you not know what plumbing is?
Shush. Shush.
You're a dwarf.
Shush. Shush. Shut.
I can just picture
Tia
Abby bonking Fable.
Tia's just like, everything
Like
runs
how
off of
often can't be happening.
everything here runs off of the town's ambient magic, which means that you don't have to worry about the lights going out on you unless we have an electrical storm. Because everybody knows lightning storms are just made out of nature's own magic when it gets pissed.
Mark is nodding in the
snorts
background.
at that.
So basically, she palms at a little like stone near the door. The stone glows, and then little stones set in the ceiling, and like little lamps turn on one at a time. They flicker a little bit, but then they come on with a nice orange glow.
Ooh.
So it looks nice, and it's very cozy in here.
Cozy.
I am really loving the imagery of all this.
And she
imagery,
says,
good
"All
imagery."
right. There is one room here on the floor level, and the rest of the rooms are on the second level. You might want to put Noctis here on the ground level so that we can get soup and food to him easier."
Exactly. And Petra like nods and starts heading through the ground floor, like looking through whatever bedroom is around.
It's one little room. It's nice. The flowers in the vase are dead because it's been so long since someone stayed there. Tia just takes them out of the vase and very gently tucks them away. And then instead in the vase she puts like a little like what looks like a little knitted flower.
Aww.
And she's just like, "I've been meaning to do this, but I haven't had much time." And then you go over. There's a nice handmade quilt on the bed, and she's like, "It might be a bit dusty. You can beat out your own sheets and blankets and pillows if you would like. But for now, just set him down."
Petra's just gonna very gently set him down on the bed.
Yeah, and he settles down, honk shoe, and he's like sleeping, and his breathing evens out. And you now notice that he was kind of pale this whole time. Like, you can't really tell because he's got really healthy tanned skin. But you set him down, and you notice like the slight sort of like ashy flush is gone. And like he goes to sleep, and you hear like more grumbling because he's still hungry. But like for now, what it seems like he needs is either the rest or some more food. And Tia is just like, "I'll get back to the pot, and if you want anything, I'm not sure about how well the kitchen is stocked, but I do know we at least have flour. We've got some potatoes, and I don't think Noctis will charge you if you use any of his fresh vegetables. He grows them in the town garden, you see."
Oh, okay. Thank you.
"Of course." And then she says, "Come here."
Oh, Petra's like awkwardly stands there for a second before taking a few steps closer.
"No,
Yes?
lean down. Lean.
Oh,
I'm not that tall, dearie."
just leans down.
Grandma gives you a little kiss on the cheek.
Aww.
And then she just kind of trots out of the room. And she says, "Remember, the rooms upstairs are for you and your friends. Have a good time."
I think Petra's just like resting like a hand on her cheek, like a little awkwardly, and then just like checks over Noctis one more time, and then is gonna absently head over to the kitchen.
The kitchen is actually in pretty good repair. It could use a cleaning because it's dusty, but other than that, the sink's clean. You see a couple of like 2 more of those plates, but one is blue and one is red, and they're on opposite like sides of the sink.
Oh.
You're not sure what these are or what they do. Can you make like, God, I would say it's a wisdom check.
I can guess.
Because like it doesn't have to be a smarts check.
Like either
Wisdom.
wisdom or intelligence.
Yeah,
I'm doing
intelligence-
wisdom.
Yeah, you gotta do wisdom because like you can guess if you've seen something like this before.
That's a 14.
That's pretty good. I'm gonna say that you aren't quite like certain what this is gonna do, but you get the idea that since it's near like a spout, that water will probably come out. So you take your hand and you gently press on the blue square, and a small trickle of water starts coming out. You lift your hand and the water trickle continues, and you put your hand in it, and it's cool. It's cold.
Ooh.
It's water. You taste it. That's water. So you
Cherry's water.
Yep. You then pat the stone again, and it turns off, and the water shuts off. And then you do it with the red one, and a stream of water comes out. I'm gonna ask you right now: do you stick your whole ass hand in it?
Yes. Petra would.
All right. You stick your whole ass hand in it.
Yep.
It's hot.
There's just like a loud exclamation of damnation! And it's just like waving her hand about.
Yeah, much like most cartoons, like there's like a burn mark and it's throbbing a little bit in a comical way.
Petra's absolutely blowing on it.
You blow on it and it takes a minute or two and it stops, and then you just kind of, I would say that you probably slam the red square again.
Yeah.
Turn it off. I like the cold one better. But now you know what that does, in that the orange stones on the walls are for lights. The stones in the kitchen are for activating the various things that these do. Like there's also a stove, but it doesn't look like there's like a fire portion to it. There's just another like there's a red there's another red magic stone. It's like an induction cooktop. So it's like a sheet of flat black glass, and then there's like a red sort of circle. And the way that this works for people who aren't picturing it is that it's a red sort of circle. To make it more hot, you sort of like draw a circle clockwise. To make it less hot, you make a circle counterclockwise.
Oh my god.
Petra is just staring at it.
Can I say at this point that Star has wandered into the house?
Yeah, Star, you wander into the inn. It's a large building. You see Petra looking absolutely dumbfounded by what you've seen before. You've seen this before. It's a pretty standard like tune kind magical induction stove.
Yeah, I think they'll like gently take Petra's hand and just like pat it and then like guide her through like what everything does. So she doesn't end up burning herself on one of the multiple appliances again.
Yeah. So basically, you show her how the stove works. You hold her hand like a couple inches above the heated circle so that it doesn't burn her, but she knows it gets hot. You show her the inside of the stove, and it's an oven, and then it's like, oh, she knows what that is. Who hasn't seen like a small forge before? And then on the other side, there's like this large, like it looks like it's straight up made out of stone refrigerator, but it's the same type of magic stone as like the switches that have been all around. And you open the door to it. Spoiler alert, it's an icebox, like it's a fridge. Yeah, and the stone is what's keeping the entire thing cold.
Petra is also staring at this as they open it, like like sticking your hand in, like, why is it cold?
Like cool air comes out very gently, and then after a little bit, Star, you know that this could probably burn a lot of magical power, because like it takes less magical power to keep the box cold and then have it stay cold because of like insulation and crud. So you're just like, all right, I need to close it now.
Yeah, I think he gives like seeing like Petra's dumbfounded expression just gives her like another soft pat on the arm, like a there you'll get used to it.
There's also something that looks like weird, and you it's just like it kind of looks like the oven, and you pull it out, and there's like racks and racks of like, it looks like dishes should go here, but there aren't any dishes, and there's another like magical like control plate shaped like a circle on the front of it, so it's very confusing. And Petrus, you don't know what this is in the slightest. However, Star, you know that this is a dishwasher.
Cool.
It's just Petra going around and looking at all the kitchen appliances, like, what's this? What's this?
Petra,
There's dishes everywhere. What's this? What's this? There's fire in the air.
got it. Kitchen puzzle just for Petra.
Yeah. We flash back outside, and it turns out that the pot is finally done, and Tia has rushed outside and has put in the last ingredients and then tugged it off of the fire. She releases Nor from his terrible prison of keeping the fire even and thanks him ecstatically, like, you did such a good job. Here, have another cookie. And then she spoons a small amount of this soup into a teacup. And she gently takes the teacup and she says, I'll be right back. And then she skitters away, tink 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 tink, heads into the town hall, and there's a couple of seconds before a bright flash of multicolored light, every color and white, and it flashes out the windows, and you hear like a heavenly chorus.
Good lord, what is happening in there?
Like, you know, the final scene of Shrek.
Oh god. At this time of year, located specifically within your town hall.
It's more likely than you think.
And
everything I learn about Tia both makes me feel like I want to hold her very soft, and I am very, very disconcerted by what she can do.
March is looking back at the cauldron of soup. Is there a ladle?
There is a ladle, and there's also a fairly large amount of bottles, and she's left them there. And you hear the loud noise, and then you hear like a little shout of joy and like some sobbing, and and then everything inside is just quiet.
I think March is too distracted. He would have, but now he's really distracted by what the heck this soup is. So he's just gonna like take like just a spoonful of the ladle and just poke his finger into it.
Oh, don't worry, I think Graham is gonna
your
go
ink
check
does
on
not
Tia and
contaminate this
Cozy.
liquid.
What?
Ooh.
Your ink doesn't contaminate this liquid.
Does the liquid do anything to his ink?
Yeah, it starts slowly kind of leaching up into it.
March quickly pulls his finger out and just...
Like the
Shit.
opposite of, you know, when you drop a drop of ink in water and then it like blurbles out?
Yeah.
This is the opposite of that, in that you drop a drop of like what looks like water into ink and it starts cleaning it.
No.
Ooh.
March,
However, it
Good
doesn't
lord.
burn and it doesn't hurt.
March
Just
still...
feels fucking weird, my
Yeah,
dude.
it just feels weird, and March is just gonna quickly pull his finger out and just kind of just shake it off a little bit, like, huh.
You try, but like it swirls. And which finger did you use to touch this stuff?
Left pointer finger.
Your the tip of your left pointer finger, like the first digit of your finger, is now clear water.
And he's gonna look over at Nora, just hold up his finger for Nora to see, wide-eyed.
It's pretty. It doesn't hurt. Whatever usually is like inside of you that like makes you feel either uncomfortable or that makes things stain is just quiet.
March is gonna poke Nora's cheek with the cleared finger.
Just like he gets a little bit of like you feel a sensation of like wetness of like when someone touches your hand with a wet finger and water
Oh my
drips
gosh.
down, but it doesn't stain your skin.
Ugh, why did you do that?
I... You know what? March is gonna dip all the other 4 fingers on that hand into the ladle.
All right, so you dip that in, and you have this ladle. It's a pretty large ladle. You dip your fingertips into it, and your hand sucks the liquid up. You didn't notice that it was sucking it up with one finger because there was barely a change, but it starts sucking it up in all of the fingers, and almost like fingerless gloves, it stops at the second joint for each of your fingers. But that's clear water.
That's...
March
Ooh.
just flexes his hand a little bit.
Please understand that Nora has actually started inching away from March and is currently now seated on the other side of the fire, probably next to Graham.
He's gonna do the same thing with his other hand too, just to get that fingerless glove effect.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, so you
Meanwhile,
take
Graham
the
is
ladle
looking at
again
this
because
like,
the ladle
"Yo."
is everybody. You take the ladle again because the ladle is now empty. All of the liquid in it has been absorbed into your body, and that is what has caused this change. So you dip it into the potion again, and you pull up your hands and you dip your fingers into it, and it slurps up your hand, and then you run out of liquid. You get the idea that if you kept pouring bits of this over your body, this would continue to happen. However, there's only so much potion in here and you look down at the book, and it's open to the page about the mushroom. So, and then it says like growth time 600 years.
Oh.
Congratulations,
March just looks at his now just fingerless glove looking hands and just goes, kind of very very gently just reach over and poke at like the edge of the book paper to see if anything happens to it.
It just gets like a little damp spot. Like it doesn't get like wet. It just gets like, it looks like it gets a little damp. It doesn't cause any of the ink to run.
But it doesn't get blorched by his own ink, is what he's testing.
Yeah, it doesn't get blorched by it. Only if you put your palm directly on it.
March's eyes glow, and he just looks at Grem, who's been, who seems a bit more excited about this, like he is and just holds up his hands.
Listen, when you look at Graham, you see that they've been reaching into their bag with their arm. Like, there's almost their entire arm in the bag. You're not sure that the arm comes back out, and they're holding a little notebook, and they started taking notes. They're very interested in this.
This is
And then you hear the sound of a walker behind you. Step, 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 tonk. Step, 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 tonk. Step, 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 tonk. And you hear tink, 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 and you know that's Grandma's footsteps. That's Tia's.
March is again gonna look towards Tia, see the old guy, but he's still just holding up his hands and just kind of waving his fingers, eyes glowing.
Aww.
And basically, you see Teodosi, an old man who looks like he's been sleeping for a very long time. He's yawning. He has a little mustache, and he's very square-shaped. And he's just very tonk, 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 tonk. And he's slowly making his way over. And Tia has her arm, basically she's wound it, like around his arm. Like, you know when two people like do that thing where like they hook arms? She has done that, and they're slowly making their way over. And Tia has tear tracks on her face, and her normally like pristine makeup is a little smudged. And Tio has many lipstick marks on his face.
Aww.
March is gonna pull out the handkerchief and hold it out to them.
Aww.
Tia, she lets out like a little happy like sob laugh, like when you're so happy but you can't stop crying. And she says, "Thank you, dear," and she wipes at her face. And then she does the grandma thing where like you lick whatever it is you're holding, and then you like use it to scrub.
Oh.
And she gently scrubs at her husband's face, and he says, "Hey, hold on now, I like those." And she says, "You made me worry. You don't get to keep the kiss marks."
Aww.
And he says, "I just didn't want you to leave. This town it's our life, dear." And she's like, "We can argue later. Right now, I'm just happy you're alive." And then they kiss in the middle of the town square.
Good.
March gives a little clap. Aw.
I feel blessed by this. Graham does not care.
And then she says, "Oh, by the way, we now have a small supply of cure-all." And he looks surprised, and he's like, "You actually found the mushroom?" And she was like, Did you put yourself under a never-ending sleeping curse without knowing if we could find the mushroom?" And he looks very like, "Oh shit, she caught me." And he says, "No."
And big respect to you.
And then Tia says, "Oh, you are so dumb. I love you, but you are so terribly idiotic. Oh my god." And she just kind of like shakes him a little bit, and she's like, "What if something had happened? You have not changed since we were 16. Oh my god." And he was just like, "I have changed since I was 16. I changed pronouns." And then she's like, "No, you don't get to make that joke now." And he says, "But it was quite a transition." And then she says, no, no, and she gently smacks him on the arm.
March is gonna look over at Grem with like a look of should we say something?
Graham looks at March and just does a small shake, like nah.
Nor has just taken out a cigarette and is smoking it right now.
So basically, Tia and Tio then hang over, and then Tia's just like, "Dear, what happened to your hands?" Because she looks, and Tio has wandered over, and he takes like a sip from the ladle directly while she's not looking, and then he just picks up the walker with one hand and chucks it.
Oh my god.
God.
And then he thinks about it, and he's like, "No, my bones are still real bad in the morning." And then he goes back to go get it. But she's like, "What happened to your hands?" And she goes over to March and looks at his fingers, and it's just like, "Okay, it looks like they're still all there, and they're still pretty solid."
March just
What did
whittles
you
them.
do, sweetheart? Did you hurt yourself?
March just looks over at the potion the soup.
Yep.
The soup.
Soup.
She follows his line of vision and is just like, "Oh, you put your... Oh, I hope you didn't put it directly in there. That's not sanitary."
I used the ladle.
Alright, that's slightly more sanitary. It's supposed to be a cure-all, so it shouldn't hurt you. But I wouldn't advise doing too much of that at once, dear.
March
You do need to bottle some of this for emergencies, you understand?
Yes, but before that, March just raises a hand and boops her nose and is delighted that there's no ink on her nose.
Oh.
There's no ink, and she's just like, oh dear, I see you've stolen my nose. I suppose I would try to fight back, but you don't have a nose, dear."
March then just does a boop and leaves just a tiny little damp mark on his mask.
There we go.
This is the cutest shit ever.
Oh, so you've stolen my nose, and it's now your nose.
March has acquired nose.
Very clever, sweetheart. And then she turns around and she rustles around under her skirts again and pulls out like a large set of like jars, like mason jars.
Good.
March
And
blinks.
she begins like just like canning, like bottling the potion, and she like seals it up, and then she after the whole pot is empty, she just kind of she sets the bottles in there, and she boils it. This is how you do like jarring when you're canning, and it gets all of the oxygen like out of there as far as you can tell. She puts on the lids, the metal expands, and then she waits. Then she takes them off, waits for them to cool. Is very gentle with them. And that creates like an airtight seal.
Does she want help while she's doing this? Because March is in a very
Yes.
good mood right now.
Yes, she says, "Dear, come here, and when I ask for you to hand me a jar, you hand me a jar, you understand?"
Okay.
So basically, she's doing some canning, and then she says, she looks around and she's like, "Oh, where is that? Oh, baby, you, over there. Sweetie, child."
Oh, she's looking around for the child. The child's not there.
"Oh dear, where did the little
The
one
China's
go?
fucked off.
I was going to ask him to help me. Or them? Do they have a pronoun yet?"
March shrugs.
"Well, I can always ask." And she continues to work, and then she goes over and she looks at Nor and she says, "You can be my helper instead. Come here.
What?
Come here."
You come here.
The power of Krenma compels him.
Yep. So she then she holds up what looks like it's a little square of like cloth, but like it's a square of like gingham cloth, so it's like checked. It's like red and white checked. And she says, "I will hand you a jar and a little piece of cloth, and I need you to tie it around so that it is held in place so that we can make sure that nothing leaks. It shouldn't anyway, but like it's very good to package them like this. Also, it just looks nice."
Nor takes one look at this, registers what Tia just said, and immediately goes, "You don't want me doing that."
I would like you to try.
All right, Tia, why don't you hand him the jar and the cloth?
She does, and can you please make me a dex roll?
Please.
Oh no! Oh no!
That's not awful. It's not really good. So you take it, and you manage not to drop anything. But like,
Yeah, but this is like a deck save to like hold it, like.
yeah, you hold it in your hands. You don't drop it or anything. Now, can you please roll me another dex to see if you can tie this neatly? You tie a box knot, and it looks bad. That's not even possible with a box knot, but like you do your best, and it looks like a 3-year-old did it.
Yeah, like everyone just sees like Nor's fingers, like he doesn't look like he knows how to use his hand.
What's that guy
Keep it up
doing?
with that, buddy.
Look at that guy over there. He's trying to tie his shoes. He's been trying for 15 minutes. He's crying.
But Tia keeps passing you jars and squares of fabric, so you have to keep doing it, and it just
It's
keeps
fine.
being the same thing over and over again.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm
Nor
gonna
Nor
roll
can just
that.
give them to Graham. Graham will do it.
Yeah, Nor's just gonna give them to Graham, but I'm actually gonna roll another like deck save just to see if I can get negative.
Oh God.
So,
Nope.
but yeah, that's fair.
No, I'm gonna say that as you do this, it improves a little bit, but like only marginally.
Graham still has to
Only
fix it.
marginally.
So while you guys have set up like a little
Chain.
industrial production line to get everything bottled, tied up, and looking neat, we flash back into the inn, and we are back with Star and Petra, and Petra has found one of the only things she recognizes, an old style like copper kettle.
Kettle.
She knows what this is. She knows how to use this. She does. This is a familiarity in a horrible zone of nothing makes sense.
This
So she-
makes sense.
Yeah, so she takes it and she holds it up to Star like, I know what this is. And Star is just like,
Good.
yep,
Yes.
alright, cool.
He gives her a thumbs up, like, yep, congratulations. He's very proud of her.
Yeah. There's also like an old tin of what looks like chamomile tea on the counter.
Tea.
So you have a copper kettle. You have a can of chamomile tea. Can you roll me intelligence?
Oh no. Oh no.
Depending on how this goes, I might be able to help.
17.
Oh, that's fine.
You know how to make tea, and you know how to make it really well. You go over to the countertop where the sink is, and you pop open the kettle, and then you use the blue stone, not the red one. The red one hurts. And you get some water in the kettle, and you turn it off. Then you gently put it on the stove, like the stove will bite you, and you sort of gesture at Star, like, oh God, please help me. And Star, you take up the stove duty and gently turn it up.
Yeah.
It takes about 10 minutes, but the kettle starts boiling. It gets real hot, and you hear whistling. You take it off the heat, and then Petra, you put in the chamomile leaves, and then you start looking around for dishware.
Yeah.
Can either of you make an investigation check for me?
Oh no, investigation. That's a 4.
You don't know where they keep the
modifier.
dishware in here, and you're so confused.
Petra is back at looking at the dishwasher.
Yeah, you got caught in the dishwasher siren song. However, Star, you look around and you immediately guess, oh, it's probably one of the lower cabinets because Tia and everyone is pretty short, and Noctis probably wasn't always that tall, and there doesn't seem to be anybody else here. So
How
you look
many
at the-
times has Noctis used this kitchen realistically from what he knows of the boy?
Just a few times, like just like when he's busy or when people come in to stay in town, and that's really rare. It happened more when Noctis was tiny, which is why all the dishes are on the lower levels.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
baby man.
So you reach down, you find a teacup, and it's patterned in little. It's got little blue flowers and little Z's all around the rim.
Oh, that's so cute.
And you find 2 of these. You set them on the countertop, and Petra, you hear heavenly chorus as you realize, oh, that's where they keep the cups. This isn't some crazy future where people just drink with their hands.
Can't rule anything out.
And Uni, can I ask where the child is?
The child kind of vanished right around the time there was a lot of discussion about where everyone was staying. The child is very anxious about the notion of staying.
Oh god. Can you roll me stealth?
Make a tracking check or something to find the child.
No,
Oh
as
my
your
gosh.
DM and asking for a stealth check.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, if it's under the passive perception of anyone in the group, then people can
Well, I
find
rolled
that they
a
can hear
14
'em.
back when they first snuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but, like, you
Uni
gotta
did
try
roll
it again
14.
because it's been an hour.
It's a 3.
Alright, so you finish pouring the tea, and it smells really good. You can't find any sugar, which is a little bit of a buzzkill. So you look around in the pantries, Star, and you're still looking for sugar, and then you hear, like, through the wall, clang, 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 clang! And you're like, what the fuck is that? Do we have raccoons? So, Petra, you also hear this, and you're just like, oh god, what the fuck is going on? And both of you, you turn off the stove, but then you, like, you leave the tea on the counter, and you rush outside. You look at the trash cans in the alley next to, the inn, and ass up in the air, wriggling impossibly, is the child.
God.
Uni, you may do whatever you wish with this information.
Yeah, the child probably tried to, like, climb a tree or something, and the branch broke, and shenanigans. Yeah, they're trying to squirm their way out. It's stinky in here.
Yeah, you're very stuck. It's gooey, it's stinky, it feels real bad, and you're getting a lot of goo all over you, and that feels worse.
Shoot. Let me help you with that. Like, Petra's gonna very awkwardly, like, try to.
Star is definitely trying to help as well.
Alright, between the two of you, you have really good strength stats. I'm gonna say that you pull once, and you hear kind of like a slurp sound, and then you pull again, and you hear a slop, like a little pop, as the child comes out, but is covered, like, their entire upper half is covered in muck.
Ew.
They smell terrible.
Ew.
They didn't smell great before.
Yeah, but, like, there's a
Yeah, but
difference
now they
between
smell
unwashed child and child who has been dunked in trash.
Yeah, they didn't smell great before, now they smell quite bad.
Yeah, Petra's nose wrinkles, and she's just, alright, okay.
There's a water fountain nearby.
Please do not bathe him in the water fountain.
Please.
I'm just imagining Petra holding the kid at arm's length, like, and, like, trying not to smell.
The child is trying to squirm out of her
into the
grip,
inn.
but
Tia looks over because she's just finished with her canning, and then she sees Petra holding a child by the back of the coat, a child covered in muck and very distressed, and Star just kind of walking under the child in case Petra drops them.
Is through a window?
No, because they came outside, remember?
Oh, so I blanked out a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
worry,
alright.
it's fine, everything's fine.
I did
So,
have a plan if for maybe cleaning up the child if we needed it.
Yeah, Immediately, she gasps, and Tio takes over her spot in the line, arranging little jars in a crate that he somehow has. Where did he get a crate?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and she runs over and she says, "Oh no! Oh, you're so messy. Oh, are you okay? Did you get any cuts?"
Child
And
tries to squirm away, and there's a weird sort of thing that happens. It's hard to describe. It's like there's a sort of swiping notion across, and then they prestidigitated themselves clean. And they're still trying to squirm loose.
yeah, that is a charisma check on Tia's part. She got a 17.
Ooh. Ooh.
No.
So she's just gently cooing to the child, like, "Are you okay? Oh, you cut yourself. Oh, look!" And you've got like little nicks from the trash, and she's just like, "Oh, come here."
They're looking at her like she did a very good check, and so they're not trying to like get away, but they're also just like looking at her very unsure and a little bit suspicious.
She pulls out another embroidered handkerchief, and she gently, like, she reaches in and she pulls out like a little bottle of something that has like a little like plus on it. The plus is actually like the sign for like health. It's a small like healing potion she keeps on her for nicks and scrapes. And she opens it and she pours a little bit onto her handkerchief, and then she uses it very gently to swipe across the cuts the child has on his hands and on their little face.
She gets a little.
She says, "I know. That's just the feeling of like the medicine kicking the ouch's butt."
Arch is busy
And
helping Tio with the crating, but he's also looking over his shoulder to watch this.
She finishes
the other
up,
squad is just
and then she folds the handkerchief up and she says, "There we go. Doesn't that feel better?" And she pulls out a couple of little English people call them plasters, and American people call them band-aids.
Aw.
Huh.
They're brightly colored, and she says, "All right, since you were such a good patient, which band-aid do you want?" One has cats on it, and the other has turtles.
The child stares blankly at them.
"Do you like kitties or turtles?" "I think I've got dogs in here."
Child stares for a second and after a moment grabs both of them.
And Tia says, "Oh, that's a good choice," and then
Choices
gently
are.
helps the child unwrap them and places them over the little, like, the scratches, gently smoothing it out with her tiny thumb. And she's like, "I do have a dog," and she pulls it out of her breast pocket. "I was keeping this for Tio because he always manages to cut his fingers on papers, but I think he won't mind sharing." And she unwraps it and then gently lays it across one of the scratches on the child's hands. And then she says, "There you go. You're all better. You were so patient and so good." And she gives the child a little bit of a like she gives a little like peck on the cheek.
The child flinches again, but sits still for it.
"It's all right. All right, you can set him down now, or them. Do you have a pronoun, sweetheart?"
They tilt their head to the side.
Do you have something you like people to call you? Like, I go by she, her when people are referring to me without my name. My husband uses he, him. What do either of you use?"
Oh, I use she, her. Like Petra's just standing there.
Yeah, and
Standing there, armful of child.
Yep.
and just she looks at Star like, "What do you use?"
I'm just trying to think how to communicate this. I think eventually just again in their hands is um he, him, and they, them.
And she says, "Oh, brilliant! You have two. Yes, you can have multiple." She says to the child, and she says, "And you don't have to make a decision right now. I just wanted to make sure that you are clean and comfortable. Sweetheart, can you put them down?"
Oh, right. And then Petra gently sets child on ground.
Yeah, and Tia says, "All right, you're all done. You can run off if you like, but we're going to have dinner soon."
Child
There's like a
hesitates
you can go
and
first.
looks around and darts off into the darkness.
Aw.
She
Aw.
just says, "We'll leave some out for you."
At the mention of food, Star's going to make a picture of a teacup, a steaming teacup. We made tea.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like I think
and
like
she
Petra
says-
like looks at the little symbol above Star's hand. She's like, "Oh, all right, we made tea." And then she's like pointing into the inn.
And Tia's just like, "Oh, you made tea? Excellent." And she says, "Do you mind if I have a cup?"
Oh, not at all. And then Petra's just gonna, with all the energy, with like a whole lot of energy, she's just gonna run inside and get tea for everybody who wants some.
Yeah. So after like Tio is now finished with all the bottling and canning, Noir, you are free. Grem, you are free. March, you are free. And Tio has shooed you off to go inside the building to check out your new digs where you're gonna sleep, and has guaranteed you that he can clean everything up because he's a very buff, excellent veteran of the Magical Girl Wars. He fought for your right to use magic.
God. I love them. I love them.
I love them so much. I care so much.
So, everyone, I'm gonna do a little time skip, and suddenly you're all in the inn, except for the child who is still out doing whatever the child's doing. But luckily, he has been, well, not he, they have been, basically they've been checked on, they've had some food, they've had some fun, they've definitely gotten some water in them somehow due to that fountain. Basically, the child is alright, is what I'm trying to say. I have to make sure the baby is okay. Yeah, the door to the inn is still open, but everyone, you're now inside, and you all have, for everyone who likes tea, you all have a cup.
Hell yeah.
March definitely took a cup, but only because so he could dip his clear finger in it and see what happens.
Nothing happens.
It doesn't slurp up into his hand?
No, like, it just kind of, you stick your hand in there, it doesn't slurp up into it, but it also doesn't, like, the ink from your, like, body does not, like, leach into it. You can stir this with your finger, and, you still have tea.
March is gonna, like, turn to Grem to show this. Just wide-eyed again. He's still so excited about this.
Graham is also very excited about this because that's
So, Tia is just like, "Alright, I'm going to, I think I'm going to," and then Tio comes in and he's just like, "I brought food," and he's got, like, a bunch of ingredients in another big, like crate, and he says, "I put the healing potions in the town hall," and she says, "Thank you, dear! Just don't push yourself too hard, you've been asleep for a while." And Tio's just like, "Please, I survived the Magical Girl Wars." And Tia says, "Dear, I was your captain, the head of your unit, I know this."
Petra looks very confused in Petra's own little corner.
And he's just like, "Yeah, so you know how strong I am." And she's like, "Yes, dear, I know."
God.
Out
He
of
flexes,
curiosity,
and he's just got tiny, like, man arms.
My God.
can I roll history to see if Star knows about the Magical Girl Wars?
Yes,
I'm not
roll
rolling
history.
You know what?
Anybody who wants to can roll history.
I will roll history.
Graham has no fucking clue. what they're
Petra
talking
wouldn't
about.
know.
March has no idea.
Two
He hasn't.
opposite ends of the spectrum.
He hasn't read it.
All right, so two of you absolutely know what the Magical Girl Wars were, and that was when, famously between warlocks, and wizards and whatever, warlocks had to abide by their patrons who were extremely against the spreading and the basically demonetization of magic, and wizards were for the freedom of magical assets. So basically, about right after the first erasure, magical girls came into being because these grand ideas started popping up, and basically they were the female warlocks or female identifying warlocks who followed certain deities, and these deities got stronger the more magical girls that they supplied powers to, and so between the magical girls, you had ones who agreed that yes, only magical girls and warlocks should have magic because they have made an equitable promise. Wizards just do a lot of studying and they get it for free, and that's not fair. And wizards are just I feel like everyone should be able to have magic because it's not fair to keep it all locked up to a single type of people. That leads to stagnation in the knowledge and spreading of magic. And it was originally an intellectual argument, but then a warlock of a magical girl god, angry war deity decided, fuck it, we're just going to make them see it our way, and an entire city was decimated with hearts and sparkles. So wizards and warlocks started fighting. Eventually some warlocks and deities changed sides. They sided with freeing magic. And some decided, no, we want to keep it secret. We want to have a secret group of wizards who are only inducted because we say it's worth it. So the whole thing got extremely confusing. There were so many different lines made and crossed, and this war went on for about 100 years.
Oh.
And it ended about 50 years ago. And Tia and Tio were actually two of the people on the final team who helped push the tide of the war and finally end it so that all magic was free and open source.
Alright, this now makes sense why Star knows about this.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
jeez.
it makes sense why Nor would know about this as well.
Grandma's no fucking clue.
It was probably.
Petra also has no clue.
It was probably a book March could have read, but March chose not to because it looked boring.
You judged a book by the cover, March.
But you guys know about this, and then you're just oh wow, these are those two? Oh wow, and Tia is now just puttering around, and she's started making what only looks like a really it looks like a roast with roasted vegetables, and it's all tied up, and she's making sure everything is perfectly timed. And then Tio is cutting up vegetables and making sure to help with the cooking, and then sneaking little bites of what his wife is making, and then offering her some of his, and they're just being really mushy and cushy together.
Good.
Good.
Aw.
They deserve it.
I think at some point during this, Petra is gonna go check up on Noctis again to make sure he's sleeping. And
Noctis
resting.
he's fine. He's not sleeping anymore. He's just kind of staring at the ceiling, out of it. And you can hear his stomach as you walk into the room.
I think Petra is gonna walk in with the last of the tea, and
Yeah.
Just walk
He
up and
hears
offer
Petra,
him
and
some.
he's just you set the tea down on the nightstand, and he says, "Mom." Mom.
When he's not drunk,
I'm
Petra is the mom
hungry.
friend.
Pet. Okay.
I'm hungry, Mom.
Oh no.
Petra's not gonna bother to correct. She's just gonna be food's being made. I'll get some to you in just a sec.
She
Like
has
a tear.
accepted the adoption.
Yeah, he's got a tear, and he's like, "I'm hungry, Mom." He's very out of it.
Yeah, he really is.
He's so out of it. Like, everything before was just him holding on by his teeth and claws to sanity, and now he's very tired, he's very hungry, and he's extremely delirious.
I am going to roll hammer space. That's a 4.
I'm just
I feel
imagining
like
Petra
Petra's-
vibrating. Like, what the
Petra just like wordlessly just reaches into her hammer space and pulls out like like those little awful crackers you get in rations.
Yeah, and you see his nose twitch, and then he attacks you.
Oh. Oh
Not
no.
like actually attacks you, but like he launches himself at you, and he like starts eating crackers out of your hand, and he's just like.
He lunges and
This
it's
is
da.
This is a wild animal.
He finally gets like all of the crackers you offer into his stomach, and then he slumps for a second, and he doesn't move, and you're like, oh god, I've killed him. And then like he shoots up, his head shoots up, and he's just like, oh god, why does my head hurt? What the? Who the fuck? Who are you? Why am I oh god, and he like backs up. I'm touching you.
I feel like they ended up on the floor and Petra just his little spiral eyes.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh god, what the? Oh, and then he just kind of steps over her and rushes out into the kitchen. Tio, what's going on?
Hello.
I think I killed one of your house guests.
You did what?
And Tia's just like, oh god, not again. And she
Not
then,
again.
she finishes up what she's doing, and she then trots into the room, and she sees Petra, and she goes, oh, she's not dead, dear. She's just a little squished, and she begins helping Petra up.
Yeah. Petra just sits up like with like the little swirly eyes and eventually just shakes her head.
And she says, there we go. That's a good girl. All right. Now will you come with us? Food is almost done.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. And Petra's just awkwardly standing up and brushing herself off, which is a horrible sound because it's metal grinding against metal.
Ka-ting. And she says, and then Tia's just like, are you comfortable in all of that plate metal?
Oh,
If you want to change, just leave your armor in whatever room you like, and you can pick that as your own.
There's kind of an expression gracing Petra's face of, it didn't occur to me that I needed to take this off. Huh.
It's not comfortable to sleep or walk in, so, like...
Yeah.
And Tia then heads out in the living room, and she's like, all right, everybody sit down. Everybody sit. Everybody sit. Go on, shoot. And she does the grandma thing where, like, she herds you into, like, sitting and making sure that you're all being, like,
Right.
respectable children instead of heathens.
She doesn't need a gun to force people to sit.
And Tio takes his spot at the one end of the table, and then Tia takes hers at the other end of the table, and basically they put out dishes and stuff, and she waves her hand, and like a nice set of old grandma dishes like floats over onto the countertop, and then she sets down the main dish. She sets down the side dishes. She sets down the kettle of tea, and you guys all have, for the first time in about 2 days, you have a nice meal that has not been cooked outside over a fire.
Nice.
It smells
Nice.
intensely good. I need everyone to make a wisdom check, please.
A wisdom?
Wisdom
Yeah, a
check.
wisdom check of 15.
Okay.
Alright. 20. Dirty 20.
All right.
19.
Very good.
That's a 4. That's a 4 for Star.
All right,
I
to
think
anybody
this makes sense because
to
Star
every-
wasn't the one didn't eat any of the cookies earlier.
Yeah, to all of the people who got under a 15, including Noctis, you are immediately, like, the only thing you can concentrate on is food. The smell is
Food.
that good. Like you sit down and you focus, and the smell is just wafting out. It's delicious. It's amazing. A couple of you are just like, I'm hungry, but I had cookies earlier, so I feel okay. And you sit down and you wait patiently, and then the other three are just like
Devouring.
I'm
They're
sorry, I'm
eating
just
like
imagining
heathens.
Graham going, I am really not hungry, and then... Actually...
and everyone gets a portion, and then Tia, as if she's just forgotten something, gives her head a gentle little poke, and she says, this almost slipped my mind." And then she grabs a bowl, and she spoons out some food into it, and then she takes it outside, and she sets it down outside of the inn, and she says, "If you're out there and still hungry, we made food." And then she trots inside without waiting to hear a
Aw.
response.
After maybe a minute or so, the child sort of sneaks up and takes it and gives
Oh,
it a sniff,
baby.
and it smells really good.
Aw.
It smells like grandma cooking.
The child doesn't know what that is.
It's
Aw.
just really good homemade cooking that, like, probably isn't great for you, but God, does it taste good.
Mhm.
So it's great. So it is great for you because it tastes amazing.
Yep. It's one of those things where it's like, God, I could eat this all the time just because, like, this is someone who's been cooking for themselves for 40 years and knows how to make it taste good.
Good for the soul.
Good for the soul.
Yeah. She comes back in and she's just like, all right, does everyone want to... Well, I would say grace, but, does everybody want to say one thing that they're thankful for before we start eating?
March just wiggles his fingers.
All right, I am thankful that all of you got me my husband back. And she passes it down the line. Who's next? Petra.
Oh. Oh, put me on the spot, why don't you, Elle?
Yeah, what's Petra glad for?
I could think of a number of things she's glad for.
Just pick the most, like, obvious one that she's thinking about right now.
I am grateful for being here, I suppose. Instead of, well, that's a whole other thing. Too much story time for a meal, I suppose.
We can talk later. For now, I want to get some food in you because you look like you haven't eaten in a while.
Oh, I
You're
haven't.
too skinny. You're so skinny. And she gently pats your arm like, oh, you're a twig. You never eat. You need to be healthy and eat food.
I must stress, Petra is so buff.
She is. She's very buff. She's very round. She's very soft.
But also
And
consider
Tia
Tia
just
as a
looks at her and
grandma.
it's just like, oh, you poor little whelp who never gets fed. All right.
So, right now, Star has food, in like above, like they hold their hands above their head with like food. That's what they're thankful for.
That's very good. Who wants to go next? Let's go for Grem. Grem, what are you grateful
Oh
for?
god. So, first of all, I just have to say that Graham has not been eating at the table because they have a mask over their mouth. For a reason they don't want people to see, so they are sitting somewhere where they can look away.
No,
So what
that's
they
fair, but like they say, like,
Yeah,
what are you grateful for? Like they shout across the inn.
Yeah, just when they get cold, they just put the mask back on and they just turn around like, thankful to be alive, I think.
That's a good one. March, like,
Wiggles his
she's-
fingers.
Yep, happy about that. And then the only person they haven't heard from is the child, but the child is shy, and that's okay.
Noah.
Nor then, she turns to the bird boy, and says, or, because like he eats like a bird, right? and he's skinny
Yeah.
and keeps adorning himself with pretty things.
He's a pretty bird.
Yeah.
So she's just like, oh, you, the one who eats like a sparrow. You really should get more food into you. Anyway, what are you grateful for?
He thinks for a second and then he pops the cookie in his mouth and goes, "I'm grateful I'm such a snack."
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I swear
Just
no one has
groans.
tried to
You
eat
hear-
you recently.
You hear Grams like just chuck on their food.
I will say, by the way, that he absolutely timed it that he said that when everyone was taking a bite.
Fucking
March
bastard.
March just blinks and looks at Nora and just goes, "Ew."
Yeah, Tia goes, God, I hope people haven't been trying to eat you. That's against like 7 different laws.
I think if they tried, they'd choke.
This
He
is
is
like,
pretty large.
this is also like,
Just bursting into laughter
Just
next
be
to
mean
March.
to Nora Howard.
This is
Yeah, like he was like genuinely like, oh, I'm such a snack, but also it's a fucking pun.
Complete.
So, everyone, like, and then Tio says, I am grateful for my beautiful wife, my beautiful home, and also the fact that I'm awake right now. I'm glad that everything worked out and that our town is slowly getting larger.
Mhm.
And he
Petra just
beams.
kind of blinks at that, like, what?
You live
What?
here now.
What?
You completed the entry mission. You're a citizen.
What?
You're part of the family now.
What?
What?
And with that, we cut outside where the child is still eating.
Everyone's
Uni, what is the
sweating.
child grateful for?
The child is grateful for something warm.
Aw.
Very good. And then you just hear from inside, what? And that is where the episode ends for today.
Oh god.
Wait, what did you say, Al? I didn't hear what you just said.
Everyone, basically, after the child says what they're thankful for, everyone goes, you hear from inside the inn, what? And then, that is where our episode ends.
Big speech bubble that just pops up over the entire building.
Question mark, question mark, question mark?
Bold and italicized.
Yeah, someone in the peanut gallery just brought up a great point. Hey, what? Hey, the fact that Tia had everyone ask for their full name, says their family now, is this space shit going on?
I wasn't intended to be.
But
Considering
no,
I
it
don't
is.
think she has gotten anyone's full names.
Nora
Yeah.
doesn't have a full name, is the thing. His
Y'all
name's
don't
just
even
Nora.
know if Graham is their real name.
Shrug.
She
Who
was
knows?
just being friendly. Like, I've never met an old person who isn't like, what's your name, dear?
Aw.
Yeah.
Star has a full name. It's not Shooting Star.
Mm-hmm.
Child doesn't have a name, as indicated by everything.
They are immune to face shit. Like most
Don't
of
worry,
this
it's
party.
not supposed to be like face shit. It was literally
Yeah, but
just
it's
old lady
funny.
wants to know your name. Because I've never met an old person who doesn't give a shit about what your name is.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's
That
just
is
like
fair.
they'll be like, "What's your name, dear?" And it's just like, "Oh, where are you going to school? How are you doing? I want to know everything that you can fit into a 10 minutes like space."
Yep.
And I'm
Yep.
just like, "You're very sweet, and that's why I'm doing this." But also, God, the mortifying ordeal of being known.
The mood.
I also wanted to say, with how low of a wisdom score that is, I think it would be funny if everyone else is kind of surprised by just how much food Star eats, given how small he is.
No, true. Like, basically, like everybody is just like they're like, "Oh, he's hungry, haha," and then like multiple plates disappear. They're gone. He can't even fit that much food in him, like logically, but it's just gone.
Yeah.
Fine, it's Toon logic.
So that is it. Fable, you can turn off the recording if you haven't done so.
Alright. See y'all later. Bye.
Later, everyone. Thank you.
Love
Bye.
y'all.